sorry, I don't have it on my screen.
He has to see it on his screen.
Can I have it on my screen? Okay. Okay. No, it's floor. Floor.
Change from camera to PC.
Where from camera to PC? وينه؟
So can you
I don't know.
take my place? So yeah.
Okay. Okay, my presentation about is the digital transformation for the Lebanese telecom sector. Next, please. Here's it's a small video. Okay. Okay. We'll start about the sustainable path from heavy to agile. Next, please. Okay, the digital transformation, it's not a digital infrastructure evolution, it's a digital thinking evolution. It's all about the customer, okay? We have to think about our customers, what are their needs and what they want and how to deal with this. And this requires to have like a network. We have to start building the networks. Next, please. Okay. The digital transformation, starting this with the transport network, which is the backbone of all the telecommunications, the DWDM and the IP/MPLS. Next. We have built an IP/MPLS-based optical network. In order to enhance the telecom sector, we need to enhance our backbone, our core. For this, we have started by implementing a DWDM network nationwide, which connects all the switches together, all the main sites together, along with a network that can be connected to the subscribers. On top of it, we have an IP/MPLS network that will allow to provide and provision the different services required by our customers. Next, please. The next part is about the introduction or migration from TDM, old TDM switches to the IMS. Next. The way forward, we started by building an IMS network, and this was recently won by Huawei. And this month, they will finish the deployment of the IMS core for it. Following it, we'll have to start implementing the access. And for this, in the coming slide, we are going to see how this will happen. Okay, and migration of subscriber will start early 2018. Next, please. For using this IMS network, we can move along from basic telecom services, which are analog voice, analog fax, regular services, like call waiting, call divert, clip, to a value-added services on this IMS network. This will allow us to have the same services that we had before, but we can add the new services like voice over IP, voice over LTE, video, and the different value-added services provided by the IMS. Next, please. Now that we have finished upgrading the core, we're going to move to upgrade our existing submarine and network and optical network. Actually, we have three major submarine cables. The first one is CADMOS, the second is IMEWE, and the third is Peritar. Two of them are carrying internet, which are CADMOS and IMEWE, and they have been recently upgraded to the latest technologies available, and each one of them can carry over 1.6 terabit per second. Next, please. Also, we are working on some project to introduce new cables that will allow Lebanon to be connected to new and different destinations. Next. The next part is about the FTTC, or FTTX networks, which allow us to connect our subscriber, which is related to the access part. The fiber optic, it's the way forward for all the internet access. It will allow us to give very high-speed internet or whatever subscriber needs as speed and capacity. Next. Here we can see the different FTTX scenarios. We'll start from ADSL, which is the existing service today. This service has limitation due to distances, where we can reach an average of 2.5 gigabit per second. Afterward comes the VDSL and VDSL2 plus, and the vectoring, which allows us to go for higher speeds, much higher, especially when we are in distances less than 800 meters. With vectoring, we can reach easily something like 100 megabit per second. After that, we have the FTTX, which is the fiber connected. The first two, they were copper connected, and here we are trying to use as much as possible our existing infrastructure. And for some users who wish to go beyond these speeds, we will deploy the FTTH or FTTO or FTTB, depending on the subscriber needs. But first, in order to use as much as possible, or as our GM says, use the existing infrastructure as much as we can, we have to build the FTTC, because as I said before, the VDSL and VDSL vectoring, they can work well for distances up to 800 meters. For these reasons, we need the fiber to the cabinet, the FTTC, where we will deploy a fiber-connected cabinet on the street, which is the nearest point of the subscriber, and like that we can make use of the existing copper. After that comes the FTTH, where the subscriber is connected via fiber, and here we are talking about speeds that starts with 1 gigabit per second and goes much beyond that. Next, please. Here we can see the evolution of the different technologies, starting with the ADSL, VDSL, vectoring, which is using the same VDSL technology, but with enhanced protocols in order to increase the bandwidth. Then GFast, which is a technology using the copper inside the building, because GFast works well for 100 or a couple of hundred of meters, 200 meters, something like that, not more. And after that comes the fiber-connected network. Next, please. Now we are going to move to the advanced LTE, which has been deployed in Lebanon for the areas where we don't have a cable-connected subscribers, neither copper or fiber. Next. The advanced LTE, which has been awarded recently also to Huawei, and they will finish implementing this network by the end of this year. Starting next year, we start migrating our wireless local loop subscribers to this LTE, advanced LTE network. It will allow us to give them the recent technology, state-of-the-art connections, where they can have same services as they can have on the copper. Also, but what is more interesting, they will have it for the same price as the cable-connected network. We'll move to the Lebanon Ogero as a service enabler for the different enterprises and companies. Next, please. We'll start by the Internet of Things using narrowband IoT or LoRaWAN. Both of these technologies will allow us to deploy IoT nationwide. This will enable the different stakeholders in Lebanon to move forward with the different services they want to use, starting from sensors, application, maybe a whole service, and others. Next. This will allow, the IoT network will allow us to provide services related to home control and home management. We can do smart cities management also, smart health, and smart agricultures and others. In Lebanon, we have done a couple of pilot projects, and they showed very successful results. The first one is related to agriculture, where we have had a pilot with one of the private companies in Lebanon for a vinery in the Bekaa Valley to monitor the state of the vinery and to do the appropriate irrigation, pesticide, and reduce pesticide usage as much as possible using the different data that has been collected. Also, we have done a smart city project for services like electricity metering, gas, water, fuel monitoring, also for smart bin, smart waste bin data collection system. Also another one for car parking. Next, please. Also another service that we are going to provide, we are working on it, it's an the IPTV and video on demand. This type of service will allow the different stakeholders to provide different services related to content provisioning and other services they might think of. Next. Finally, the digital transformation. All this, with the national broadband network, we can realize the vision of smart, efficient, safe society. And this can be for the different services related to health, transportation, tourism, whatever service we can think of, it can use this national broadband network to be enhanced with its services. Next. The e-country platform is a strategic measurement to improve any country overall ICT capability. And all this starts with having a good backbone, good internet connection, good data network that can provide all the required connection for the different stakeholders. Next, please. Also, we are working on a new data center for the whole country so that the different parties can host their data, their power, their requirement, computing power requirement in Lebanon instead of using somewhere else in the world, hosting their data. Next. This data center will also provide cloud services, as I said before, for the different stakeholders to use their computing power requirement and data storage. Next. Okay. Same as before. Next, please. Okay. This cloud infrastructure will allow, as we can see on the figure, to interconnect all these different services, starting from financial, education, video, surveillance, whatever service we can think, it can be hosted, it can be managed, and it works on it. Next. Ojero also is working to become an incubator for ICT. Actually, we have many platforms that are used for our testing, for our training, and these equipment are most of the time, maybe like 20% of the time, they are used by our employees for training, and for the remaining of the time, they are free. So we can use them to provide them for those requiring to test, to validate some ideas also. Next. Also, we don't have to forget to be green, to help our nature and save it. Next. All these services that we are talking about requires to have a new customer relation system and a new billing system in order to accommodate, to be able to serve all these different services. Next. One word before, the CRM and billing system has been awarded recently to a company, and they will start the deployment early in January 2018. Finally, one team, one spirit, one digital Lebanon. This is our aim. Thank you. Next panelist is Ms. Tanya Zaroubi. Sorry, I cannot. Pardon. Okay. She's going to do a presentation on digital government, and she's going to present herself first. Thank you.
نشوف شو عم نشوف. Okay. Very good. It's okay. Yeah, I'm Tanya Zaroubi, head of the interoperability team in the Office of the Minister of State for Administrative Reform. We are basically the entity that leads on digital government, of course, with other stakeholders, with the Prime Minister's office and with other ministries. Now my presentation will be about the digital government challenges we are facing in Lebanon. Next, please. Of course, the challenge is not just to introduce the digital technologies into the government just as silos or islands, which in many instances it is taking place in our government and in other governments. The challenge is just to reorganize themselves around user expectations, needs, and associated requirements, rather than their own internal logic and needs. We need to work as teams, we need to work together, we need to exchange data, we need to collaborate, and we need to work towards one goal. And this is the digital government challenge we are facing, and I'm sure everybody's facing. Next, please. UMSAR is the Office of the Minister of State for Admin Reform. We organized the first digital government conference in Lebanon in May 2017, and the second conference will be in March 2018. Now, this conference was under the auspices and the patronage of the Prime Minister Saad al-Hariri, where our minister, she recommended 11 digital government recommendations. And those we are trying to follow in all our projects and in deploying all our strategies and our path and our goal is all based on those recommendations. The first one, of course, is a common portal where all the Lebanese or non-Lebanese enter the government institutions through one common portal. And in this instance, we have embarked on a project which is the company registration through interoperable platform. This is a new project that is based on the Lebanese government, the LGIF of Lebanon, where, of course, also it has its own policies and its own strategies and the data structure and all that is being incorporated into this project. The second recommendation is the multidisciplinary skills, the specialists who will have authority across all the ministries. The open source technology, we are advocating the open source technology. Shared services, through this portal, we are also promoting to have shared services such as e-payment, such as proof of identity, there are many shared services that all the government agencies can benefit from. Of course, the ecosystem, where we all should be working together, innovation, agility, the legal framework. It's always a hassle to work with the legal framework because all the legal statements and all the laws to be changed really take time. So we are trying to work hard by avoiding to change those laws, but to work with them to promote the digital government. Procurement, we're trying to change the way we do procurement because procurement is taking a lot of time into getting projects to be implemented. Of course, security is our top priority, and infrastructure, with the help of OGERO and other institutions, we need to collaborate together. All this is going to be based on a digital architecture whereby we will have a digital identity platform in the first project we are going to implement, which is the company registration through interoperable platform, a service provisioning platform where it will also have the catalog of services, billing and payment. It's going to incorporate all the billing for all the services, but it's not going to incorporate the e-payment. E-payment will be the responsibility of the Ministry of Finance. We are also going to have the e-services platform. Most of the work is going to be through e-services to reach the customer. And of course, the interoperability component whereby the stakeholders will start sharing data among each other. And this first project will have the main three stakeholders will be the Ministry of Justice, where we have the commercial register, the Ministry of Finance, where we have the tax, and the Ministry of Labor, where we have the Social Security Fund. Next, please. To implement the digital implementation with this commercial registration, like I said, the stakeholders are the Ministry of Justice, Finance, and Labor, and we have launched the project on December 13. And I invite everyone to visit our website, which is www.omsar.gov.lb, to see what the project is going to be all about. We remain with the digital government enablers, the connectivity. We will be embarking on connectivity projects, but of course through OGERO, through the Ministry of Telecom, and through other ministries who are already ready to supply us with that, like the Ministry of Finance. Like I said, the legal framework is being worked on. And last but not least, the administration willingness, where we all always have this resistance to change, or who is the owner of the data, or who is the owner of this project, and whether they really would like to cooperate together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zaroubi, for your presentation about the digital government. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Salam Yammout from ISOC to present about Lebanon IXP. Please, I invite you to.
Thank you, Mr. Antoine. Good afternoon. I'm not going to be very lengthy because there are still people that need to talk, and we'd like to more have interaction with the audience. So I'm Salam Yammout. I'm the Regional Director for Internet Society. Before that, I was with the government of Lebanon. What we've done last year is the ISTAR, ICANN, RIPE, NCC, came to Lebanon with ISOC, and we met with the Minister of Telecom and with the Director Generals. And we have a Beirut Internet Exchange that is now pretty much working in Lebanon, but we wanted to take it to the next level. But having Ogero peer with the other operators at the exchange point, and together with the ministry, with Ogero, with the representative of the ISPs, we came together with the new formula to work on the Internet exchange point that we're going to call Lebanon IX. Basically, it's going to be an NGO where it's going to have participation from the members of the IX and with oversight from the ministry, and Ogero will be peering with us. Why is Internet exchange point important? It's because, as you know, the traffic between two internet service providers goes to London and come back every time that there's an exchange between the two. Now, yes, if you are peering with Ogero, for example, if you are having an email going from, say, Terranet to Ogero, yes, the traffic will go outside and come back most of the time. So it's better to keep the local traffic local, and the culture of an internet exchange point is one that makes data centers grow around it, to have content providers like Google, Akamai, Netflix, and universities like AUB, USG, hospitals, anybody, newspapers, anybody that has content that would like to come closer to the internet exchange point so that they have less delay and less cost to reach the eyeballs, the customers. So I just wanted to tell you that we're working together, as Tanya has said before, in Lebanon, and this is really a very great beginning, because this is how we're going to be accomplishing more stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yammout. Now I'd like to invite Ms. Surula Mkhayel. She is from Maharat to talk about the Lebanon IGF. Please.
Thank you. I'm Rula Mkhayel, a journalist and the executive director for Maharat. Maharat, it's a media organization that focuses its work on media development and freedom of expression in Lebanon and in the MENA region. So I will be talking about the Lebanon IGF. It's a new initiative in Lebanon, and it's a result of a call for the Ministry of Information, Ministry of Telecommunication in Lebanon a few months ago, when they showed interest in launching the Lebanese IGF and called for the formation of the Lebanese MAG, a step that we look at it as a civil society group who advocate and still with other civil society group for an open and transparent process for internet governance in Lebanon. We saw it as an indicator for political will and a good opportunity to start an open and transparent dialogue in Lebanon regarding internet governance related issues. Why such an initiative is really important and needed in Lebanon? Because it's equally important to debate internet issues at the national level with the participation of government, private sector, civil society, academia, and technical community. There is a need to create an open multi-stakeholder platform in Lebanon to discuss the economic and social impact of the internet and its governance mechanism. So, therefore, the Lebanon IGF emanated from the need to gather relevant stakeholders from the country in one place to discuss the current state, necessities, and emerging internet-related issues in Lebanon. Many different stakeholder groups in Lebanon have been active in their own fields of expertise, but there has been a lack of inter-stakeholder collaboration and in absence of a bottom-up process. So Lebanon IGF intends to learn from best practices from the global IGF, and of course, Lebanon IGF will encourage all actors to actively participate in the process. What is the situation, our current situation of Lebanon IGF now? So after the call of the Ministry of Telecommunication for nomination, they received 25 nominations from different stakeholders. And now Ojero is running the secretariat of the Lebanese MAG, and I will not be like presenting all the members of the MAG, but a look into the member will show you that there is a lot of expertise inside the MAG. From private sector, we have like big companies like Microsoft or Cisco. From the technical community, we have, of course, ISOC. From the civil society, we have Maharat, SMAX, and other like organization. Also, we have from the public sector, ministries and public administrations. They showed and have like very good project and implemented very good project to improve e-governance in Lebanon. So we will have, and we have really a core group of experts that they, if really the situation will allow, they can like really put the foundation for a very successful, inshallah, Lebanese IGF that we are aiming to hold its first chapter in the spring of 2018. So to prepare for this first Lebanon IGF, Lebanese MAG 2 weeks ago prepared or launched an initiative in an event at AUB when the Secretariat, the General Director, and members of the MAG participated on this event and tried to engage with the young in the university and also with the media, Lebanese media, to explain the initiative and to call for like more participation and engagement in the next activities that will precede the Lebanese IGF in the spring. And also what's like important to highlight that the group or the Lebanese MAG developed already like 3 objectives that they will be working on it to ensure openness and the transparency of the Lebanese IGF. So first, we will be working on engaging the community in discussing internet governance issues. And of course, MAG will facilitate and ensure facilitating in multi-stakeholder dialogue between different bodies dealing with the internet to share expertise, best practices, and to identify common grounds. And we will be working also on highlighting the importance of the role of the internet in developing sustainable development goals. So we have a lot of work to do, but also we are very enthusiastic to work on this this project, and really the interest and the member of the MAG show how much different stakeholder was waiting for such an initiative. So we hope that we all will be joining effort to have like the first edition of Lebanon IGF, a successful one, and that can be really a model for other local chapter in the MENA region. And we look also to that the national dialogue will accompany also regional dialogue and the international dialogue. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Mikhail, for your presentation. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Nicolas Rouhana. He He works for ISOC Lebanon. He's going to do a presentation on financing, technology, and innovation. Please, Dr. Rouhana.
Thank you. Thank you, Antoine. So I'm Nicolas Rouhana. I have a few announcements and disclaimers at first. First of all, I'm new to IGF, so it's the first time I come to IGF. And if there is one thing I have heard over these 2 days is multi-stakeholder. So unless so I have to give back and say first of all, thank you, Zena, for putting this multi-stakeholder panel together. So it shows the multi-stakeholderism of the Lebanon delegation. Thank you again. Second, thank you, Kamin, for Zena. Maybe you know or you don't know. She brought baklava with her, and so you have. In order to get the baklava, you have to stay till the end. Yeah. So I'm standing between you and the baklava. Doesn't mean that you don't have to ask questions, but I mean you can. You still have the baklava. There's another incentive for you to get baklava, and I'll come back to that in a while. So I'm the vice president of ISOC, and the president is Gabi Deek, for those who know. This is my night job, my day job that pays the bill. Is I'm the general manager of IM Capital, which is a VC fund. So I actually fund startups and innovation. So hence, I can give some thoughts about financing, technology, and innovation, either through my work or through what I do as well on within ISOC. Slide next, please. So 2 slides on ISOC Lebanon chapter for those who don't know. So we're a multi-stakeholder organization. Founded a few years ago, 12 board members. So every couple of years there are elections. So it's a grassroots organization. We have more than 750 members, 755 till yesterday, so for your info, and counting. So it is all registered on the platform. So I encourage you again to go on the isoc.org.lb to register and to follow what goes on with ISOC Lebanon. We're very happy and proud, for those who don't know, that Nabil Boukhalid, who is the former president of ISOC, just got inducted in the Internet Hall of Fame. So we're very proud of this achievement from Lebanon. Slide next. A few key focus areas on ISOC Lebanon. So broadband, obviously, IPv6. So we follow the trends, the IXP, and I have to thank Salam for her efforts for the Beirut IX turns 10. By the way, we started in December 2007, so it turns 10 years of operations and counting. Thanks for the support, and now it's time to get it to another level. We're getting hopefully Ojero and other members on board. Obviously, innovation and entrepreneurship is one of the key aspects of our operation. That's why we created what we call the IMF, which is, if you watch Mission Impossible, it's not the Impossible Mission Force, it's the Internet Mentorship Force. So we have from our members mentors that go and follow entrepreneurship, being startup weekends, etc. And I will explain that in a moment. So we have several initiatives, one of which we celebrate 25, the inter-community node, which we were when ISOC turned 25. So we were among the full day, the 24 hours full length. So everyone looked happy. So I would want you to look the same, because I want to take a selfie with you guys. So please do the same. Come on, raise hands. Or no baklava. Okay, thank you. So voila. We'll do another group photo. Slide next. So here I will tackle the innovation and the financing innovation of Lebanon. So if you follow a bit the landscape, the timeline of financing innovation in Lebanon, everything was pretty quiet pre-August 2013. So one morning in August 2013, one guy made a difference in financing innovation in Lebanon, which is the central bank's governor, Riyad Salami. So after lobbying with him, etc., the only thing stable in Lebanon it's the internet. But the internet is the Lebanese pound and the tons of liquidity in the banks, sitting idle in the bank. And banks usually give loans, and loans is not the typical way of financing startups, as you might know. So what happened is that after lobbying with the governor of the central bank, and at the time there was a minister of Telecom, Nicolas Hnewe as well, was part of the lobby, is to unleash some of this idle money sitting in the banks to the knowledge economy, to the startup ecosystem. So what happened is that he allowed the bank through a circular 331. So now you go to Lebanon and everything you heard about, there's one number that you hear is 331, circular 331. So this is the only thing that you hear about when you go to the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Lebanon. And this is the following. So it allows the banks to use up to 3%, and now it's 4% of their capital to inject in startups, and to invest in startups, to take equity in startups. So on aggregate, all of this, if you count on aggregate all the banks, it unleashes like $500 million of money to the ecosystem overnight. So it's like $500 million. So when I talk about the leapfrog, it's really, it's overnight leapfrog, unleashing $500 million in the ecosystem. And on top of that, the central bank guarantees 75% of this investment. So the risk of the bank is like 25%. And over and above, so the carrot, the second carrot from the central bank is they give 62.5% of the upside to the banks. So it's not just taking 75% of the risk and 75% of the receipts. They give to the banks more upside. So it's like a no-brainer for the banks to go into this knowledge economy or new field. And it's a new field, by the way, because banks do not know VCs, do not know what venture capital is, do not know how to take risks and equity. So what happened is that lots of funds were created. So if you look at the slide, I don't know if it's like very, very, very clear, but all of those logos were not there 2 years ago. So this is like really, all of this appeared over the last 2-3 years. So we have pre-accelerators, we have accelerators, we have funds, like 5 or 6 funds where their assets under management are like $70 million, and tickets range from $1 to $5 million. And we have programs, not just funds, programs that are funded under this circular 331. So. And this is only to use $500 million of money. The circles that are outside are even much more programs that were created satellite to these programs. So, for example, IM Capital is a fund that I manage. It's a $30 million fund coming from USAID outside the 331. So it's even more money coming into this ecosystem. ISME is a $30 million fund from World Bank managed by Kafalat. Again, pumping more cash in the ecosystem. So WAMDA Capital, and you have other programs, again, such as accelerators and pre-accelerators are funded either through other programs, other schemes that appeared. We now have angel groups. So there was no angel activity in Lebanon until we created and managed angel groups. So because business angels is a very important part of funding a startup. It comes really at an early stage. And this is a culture that is missing. So we created and built capacity for angel groups. We are now running 3 angel groups, one of which is a women-only angel group. So we have a 25 women angel group investing only in women, and they've put together like 400,000, a bit more than 400,000. And Salam is raising her thumb because she's one of these women angel, the women angel group, which is called Al-Waf, by the way. It's Lebanon Women Angel Fund. Another group is Cedars, so for Cedars of Lebanon. So this is, again, another angel group. So all of this is to tell you that really it is very happening in the ecosystem nowadays. I will not go through all the logos, obviously. Slide next. Again, other activities, so startup weekends. So this is something that's going on all over the country, literally either in Tripoli, in Beirut, or in Zahle, etc. So all over the Lebanon, all of these activities are going on, to create deal flow and to get these entrepreneurs to innovate and to incorporate their startups and to get funding through this ecosystem that I described for you. Next slide. So again, the media is following. So you don't open up any magazine, any monthly magazine, or you don't read about any new startups, new funds, new accelerators. It's amazing. I mean, it's like crazy. Every day, or every month, or every week, there is something happening, an event, or a startup, or a fund that is created, or a success story that is out there. So it's very, very happening. I think this is my last slide. No, the last slide. Go ahead, please. So now there is more capital than there are opportunity. So we are really, all the funds are now competing to get deal flows. So I invite you to come to Lebanon and to start up and to enterprise. And we're seeing that anyway. So lots of expatriates, Lebanese expats, diaspora, coming back to start up their businesses in Lebanon because, funny enough, it's easier to get funding in Lebanon than it is outside Lebanon, either in Europe or Silicon Valley. So I'll leave you with these parting thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicola, Dr. Rohana, for your presentation. Now I invite you if you have questions. Yes, please.
Thank you so much. My name is Khalid Ibrahim from the Gulf of Iraq. My question to my colleague, Rula, she talked about the first chapter of the... Okay. I thought that we will use it. Okay. So I repeat. Khalid Ibrahim from the Gulf Center for Human Rights. My question to my colleague Rula, she talked about the first chapter of the IGF in Lebanon. And I just want to ask about if really there is an implementation for an ecosystem in such a very important event with regard to the development of the internet. And in an ecosystem, people will share the same values, and they will work very hard to develop the infrastructures and all other aspects of the internet. Now, my question focus on the civil society. What is the role of civil society? And is there a full cooperation from the government? Is, as you know yourself, there are some problems related to freedom of expression in Lebanon. So, I mean, how do you deal with all that, and what kind of difficulties you are facing in this work?
Khalid, as I mentioned in my intervention, I said we welcomed the initiative of the Ministry of Telecommunication, and we found it an opportunity for us to really start working together. At some point, you have to really use a multi-stakeholderism approach to start setting on the same table and try to exchange, try to come with solutions in order to impact the public policy. We are working on advocacy, and we try to make a difference. So how can we make a difference if we don't really link our advocacy work to the making of public policy? And we cannot do it alone. We have to join effort and really try this time a multi-stakeholderism approach, a dialogue with the government and other stakeholders to see how can we all advance. So I think the first chapter of the Lebanese IGF will be an opportunity to not only talking about the challenges, but also to talk about best practices and lessons learned. And it will be an opportunity for exchanging and learning together. And we will see, we will be trying to apply. I think from my experience till now with the core group that's formed now with MAG, there is a very good expertise and a good goodwill. So let's try, because really at some point we need to try other alternatives that working alone and trying only to issuing a statement and designing some advocacy work alone. So let's try a forum.
Can I jump in? So in Lebanon, we decided نوقف النق ونبلش العمل. So we're not nagging anymore. We're just working. As Rula said, we're going to try, but and work together. So we're in a positive attitude. And to answer your question about the role of civil society, it has been my experience in Lebanon and now more in the region as a whole, is that the governments of the region seems to be more worried about control than they are about growth and tanmi, about growth and development. So I think this is the civil society's role to just bring to the attention of the governments that Control we understand, yes, but there's something more important than control for us, for our children to find jobs, good air, to eat good food, to go to good schools. It's growth and development. And that's our role, I think, is to bring this to the attention of the government.
I think we have enough time for another question before going back to Dr. Rouhana to see if we can release the sweets.
Release the sweets?
No. Please.
Sorry, can we have a hashtag, release the sweets?
Okay, marhaba. My name is Iba Awishi. I'm the Director General of the Syrian Telecom Regulatory Authority. I'm very happy to be with you today. Iba, okay? So, well, I think that this automatic transcript is really out of... Anyhow, so, well, first of all, I congratulate you for all your ambitious projects. I think you are, well, on the right track. I would suggest that, in a way or another, it would be a very good opportunity if both countries could work together on some issues, mainly peering of IXPs. I think this is a critical project, peering between IXPs at the regional level. It would allow us to gather forces to get better resiliency, better pricing for international bandwidth, and provide better prices for our users. On the other side, I think that the intervention of Dr. Rouhana was magnificent. I think that he put, yes, the funding issue of investors and of talents and of startups is a critical issue, and I think that it's a great insight that it is not well known outside. I suggest that you need really to promote this and make more knowledge and light and highlight on this. This is simply great, and I think you need to be really grateful for the governor of your central bank for approving such projects. He is well known for being a great person, so this is just a confirmation for that. But very quickly, I have one question, please. What's your current usage of international bandwidth, if you know, in Lebanon? Aggregate total bandwidth. Private IXPs, I don't know if you have government ISPs, by the way, but the overall total aggregated consumed bandwidth, not available capacity.
Yes. I don't have exactly the last figures. I know that we have 160 gigabyte of capacity. I think we are using something like 120 or so.
120 gigabits?
More or less, yes.
This is for how many subscribers?
How many subscribers you mean? Subscriptions?
How many internet subscribers?
Subscriptions or users?
Subscriptions.
Subscriptions, we have something like maybe more or less like 600, 650. Because there are some cable connected.
Yes.
So we don't know exactly the figures, but I think something around.
Yes, but don't forget mobile broadband, right?
Yeah, so I'm not forgetting.
So 600,000, I think he's talking only about the fixed.
The cable connected.
Exactly, the physical cable. But now, you know, almost.
Well, I think this is a good capacity. I really would suggest that offline after this session, we make some contacts in order to talk about the possibility of doing peering. Everyone today talks about regional peering. And that would encourage not only the operators, but also that would encourage both of us and even anyone who could join, that bringing up big content providers in the world to have their local sites like Google, like YouTube, so we could, our subscribers could access this easier. I'm not talking about that one of us must try to make benefit on the back of the other. I'm talking about a win-win relationship which could be built for the better of both. And the key word is the development of better services. Today, internet is not anymore about the infrastructure. It's taken for granted. Unfortunately, in our region, we are so backward in that whatever project we are doing, we feel like it's a giant project, but it's not. It's just the necessary.
So let me just say a few words about regional peering. Actually, IXPs don't talk to each other in the world, okay? We know that. However, What we are going to do for the Middle East is we're going to have a workshop, probably in March. The ITU is calling for the workshop with the League of Arab States to discuss this regional peering problem, and we're bringing experts. Internet Society will be facilitating the workshop, which will probably take care in Cairo. So if you're interested, no, you can't go to Cairo. Okay. Well, we'll record it for you, whatever.
It's not about that. It's not about that. I think that there are things you can do which are clear and clear and obvious. Which do not really need huge programs. It's just direct talking between neighboring countries which have a lot of joint communication connections, okay? But yes, this is true. That the strategic project about regional peering is important, and I recognize this. I support this very much.
We have to talk about it, how to make it happen, right? Because, I mean, there must be a model to it, and there's a technical layer. That's what we're going to be talking about. We're leaving the politics to the political people, but, yeah.
One more quick question. Yes? Oops.
Thank you very much. My name is Peter Gruter. I chair the Swiss Telecom Association. And I would like to congratulate Dr. Rouhan for the initiative about seeding and funding money. I would be very interested in being, let's say, documented by a short leaflet, perhaps, about what you do exactly in Lebanon. I think that's something we could use in certain countries in Europe also, because that's the edge, I would say, where we're behind. Not because we don't have capital, but we don't have a structured, sizable, systematic approach for really providing funding capital to small, to startups and ingenious developers. Huh? So very much agree that this is really an edge which Lebanon has and which Lebanon has some kind in its DNA. On the other hand, I think that one underestimates today the importance of infrastructure, and especially when you bring the two things together, let's say an entrepreneurial community which lives on top of technology, you really need a basic good infrastructure, and it's underestimated today, like it's underestimated in electricity and in traffic and everywhere. I mean, you can live it everywhere on the roads. What happens when the infrastructure doesn't follow, let's say, the technological development? It gives a mess, and it needs, both in fixed and in mobile lines, immense effort of Lebanon to just catch up with other countries here. I give an example. We had last week here in Zurich, by the way, Huawei is a good partner, I think. With Zurich and Sunrise, we looked for the next generation of mobile connectivity. And we had, in a real environment, a world record in mobile speeds of 3.2 gigabit per second in speed and 1.27 milliseconds of latency. With little latency is important when you let cars drive driverless, etc. So if you do not invest in this, in both, and it's not either mobile or fixed, then at the end you will have a perfect business community which drives up on, let's say, dirty old roads. And it's necessary that I think you don't forget that.
Yes, I will jump in and thank you for that. I didn't want to mention it, but I will now. You know, I discussed the 331 circular. So so now this is what we talk about, but there is another number which is not far away, which is 431, Salam. The law 431 from Telecom, which is, yeah, I think we should revisit this law. And that's why when we went to the central bank governor and we said, thank you, etc., we said, can you it's not hard to remember the 431, which is the law that liberates Telecom in Lebanon. It's a law that has been for ages in some drawers that needs to be, updated and released and unleashed. Yeah, so 431, 331, Yalla 431, next.
Yes, one last question.
Okay. شكرا للجميع. My name is Baha Khsani. I'm the Director General for the NITC in Jordan, and I second the motion with Dr. Abat for the cooperation, the IXPs, and for the Levant area. Having done all that and invested so much in the infrastructure and the IXPs and all the initiatives, could you just shed a light on security issue for the nationwide, program of security in Lebanon, if you have any? You mentioned that cybersecurity is one of the issues that you are very much interested in. Could you just shed a light on what has been taking place in Lebanon, please? Thank you.
I know there's a strategy on that has been developed for the cybersecurity, but to be honest, I'm not part of it and I don't know much about it. I don't know if anybody is aware of it from Lebanon. I can't add to this. It's a strategy that has been developed by government stakeholders, but I don't know much about it.
Actually, the security is taken care of by, how do you call them? قوى الأمن والأمن العام, yeah, and army and stuff. So we're not, it's not like in the, yeah. So I know they're doing that, but we don't know about it.
Thank you very much.
Baklava time. You earned it. But then we have to gather and take a selfie, yeah, because my fellow panelists will be with the baklava.
Sonek zdaj se ekonom savalleri.
خورده بین
We're going to get started in 1 minute. My name is Marilyn Cade, and I will be serving as the moderator for the Afghanistan government's open forum today. It's my honor to serve in this capacity, and I will primarily be doing the sort of administrative coordination. Let me first of all welcome all of you and our online participants to the Afghanistan Open Forum, their very first, which I think is an absolutely fantastic addition to other participation that they have engaged in at other IGFs and here at this particular IGF, IGF 2017. I'd like to remind everybody that open forums are the opportunity for IGOs and governments to talk about what they are doing. They operate under different rules and guidelines than workshops do. They are focused, they are developed and delivered by the government or the intergovernmental organization, and they are focused on a topic of choice and priority to the government that is hosting. So, having said that, I would like to just welcome again all of you and to say how much I appreciate the opportunity to act as moderator. When you speak, you must get very close to these microphones. So because we are being transcribed, there will be a permanent transcription, and we are also being webcast, and I think we are, right? In real time. So there will also be the ability to access the presentation afterward, and the PowerPoint presentation that Dr. Azizi will use will also be available online as part of the IGF records. And having now moved us to the actual intellectual part of the session, I would like to introduce the chairman of the Afghanistan Telecommunications Regulatory Authority, ATRA, Dr. Azizi. Dr. Azizi, I ask you to please introduce your team, and then we will move into your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Merlin. I would also take this opportunity and welcome you all for this session. Thank you very much for showing interest in order to listen to what are the regulatory measures in Afghanistan that we are taking in order to foster the usage of Internet. Today I will have speakers with me, Mr. Omar Mansour Ansari, who is the representative of the private sector and civil society, and he will be having a short speech with us. I've got Chris with us, who is representing one of the telecom operators, the Afghanistan Wireless Communications, AWCC. And then also we will have Reza Khawar, who is the Director General of the IT Department of the Ministry of Communications and Information Technology. So we look forward that we will have a very interactive session, and the rest I'm giving back to you, Merlin, please.